Rey Mysterio is the greatest luchador of all time, and it's not even slightly close. Well, maybe La Parka, but other than that, when you consider how good Rey has been, for how long he's been that good, there's no one else that can boast the legacy that the Master of the 619 has, although the less said about that time in WCW where he had actual devil horns on his head, the better. It's not a strong look. Whether it's an ECW, WCW, AAA, WWE, New Japan, or hell, even WCPW, that match he had with Will Ospreay was a bloody corker, wherever he jumps out the sky, he tends to leave behind at least one all-time great. He is a very good wrestler and thoroughly deserves to be on the cover of 2K22. And speaking of which, this video is sponsored by WWE 2K22, available now on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC. Please click the link in the video description to grab your copy today. We've been playing it in the office this week and on the Raw Review podcast.
Oh, that bump kick!
Go on!
One of them's got to go to WrestleMania. I'm trying. He's over. Nudge him. Yeah!
And had a lot of fun playing it. Go, Eric Bischoff, go. Thank you to WWE 2K22 for sponsoring this video, but if we're completely honest, any excuse to talk about some of these matches we will gladly take because they do, honestly, hit different. I'm Adam, hailing from Parts of Unknown. Here are our 10 greatest Rey Mysterio matches of all time. Number 10, Mysterio vs. Angle vs. Orton, WrestleMania 22. Poor Rey Mysterio. The one time he won a world title at WrestleMania and fans were cheering for the other guy. To be fair, that other guy was Kurt Angle, so you know, but still, ouch. Even though this triple threat for Angle's World Heavyweight title took place in Bizarro Land, there's still no denying it is a rollicking romp. Starting at 100 miles an hour and staying there, to be fair, they didn't really have a choice considering that the original runtime of the match had to be cut in half because the show was overrunning, but hell, if you have to tell anyone to speed things up, Angle and Mysterio can do just that. A ton of great triple threat spots, including that amazing double German suplex that almost put Rey onto Neptune. When he hit the West Coast pop for the 1-2-3, cynics be damned, it was a truly wonderful moment. Less said about the subsequent title run though, the better. Number 9, Mysterio Jr. vs. Psychosis, Bash at the Beach 96. His match with Angle was fast-paced, but bloody hell doctors, Rey's cruiserweight matches in the mid-90s were something else. Legitimately jaw-dropping in places, and this instant classic from one of WCW's best ever years is a fantastic showcase of the kind of cruiserweight action that stood the company apart from all of its competition. Well, except for ECW where they stole these guys from, but shush. Rey and Psychosis, who even at this young age had something of a Joker, Batman, destined to do this forever kind of deal, were clearly unknown to the crowd who are quiet when the action starts. To be fair, there are quite a few rest holds here or there, but over the course of 15 minutes, they come unglued because of the very silly things the two men do. The final spot, Rey reversing a super Razor's Edge into a Hurricane Rana, is just the silliest and executed to perfection. Number 8, Mysterio Jr. vs. Ultimo Dragon, World War III 96. Wouldn't be a Rey Mysterio match without a bit of superhero cosplay. Turns out he was a huge nerd even back in the mid-90s before it was cool. For his match against Ultimate Dragon at World War III, Mysterio dressed as Spider-Man and wrestled at a speed that would profoundly irritate J. Jonah Jameson. Also, absolute lol at Ultimo Dragon's karate kicks, although yes, if you ever hit me with one of those, my soul would instantly leave my body. It's an intense back and forth between two lucha legends, counter upon counter, springboard upon springboard. After only a few months in WCW, Rey was already starting to garner huge reactions and draw rave reviews, and this is one of his very best in the land where the big boys play. Number 7, Mysterio vs. Angle, SummerSlam 2002. What a debut. After spending the 90s having a raft of classics in ECW and WCW, it was unclear whether WWE would get Rey Mysterio. After all, WCW might have committed a horrendous crime in removing Rey's mask, but it was at least a promotion that dedicated serious match time to cruiserweights. WWE, not so much. However, those fears were allayed at SummerSlam 2002, the opening match pitting a debuting Rey Mysterio against Kurt Angle, and holy shit, talk about a pair of wrestlers with chemistry. With his fundamental speed and power, Angle was a perfect base for Mysterio's high-flying offense, and from the first bell, the match moves at a clip. Sure, Mysterio might have lost, but after repeatedly besting one of the best to ever do it, he instantly made a name for himself with the WWE faithful. Helps that they put the mask back on him as well. What were you thinking, Eric, mate? Number 6, Mysterio vs. John Morrison, SmackDown September 4th, 2009. A proper WCW-style cruiserweight match this, except with much louder reactions from the very beginning. It's a proper little hidden away gem as the Master of the 619 wrestled the Shaman of Sexy for the Intercontinental title, and it was very good indeed. There's something about Rey wrestling for the IC title that brings out the best in him. He had a corker against Ziggler for the strap at SummerSlam 09, a match against Jericho, we'll get to that, but this one against Morrison is sensational. Genuinely, it matches the speeds of some of his mid-90s matches because the man is incapable of aging, it seems. The SmackDown crowd are proper loud for the whole thing, counters on counters, fancy head scissors and the like. Morrison swatting Mysterio out the air with an amazing dropkick, ending with maybe the only painful looking Starship Pain Morrison has ever hit. Brilliant TV match. Number 5, Mysterio versus Shawn Michaels, Raw, November 14th, 2005. This is more of an emotional pick than a match with the quickest moves, but damn does this TV match make you feel a ways. Mysterio has had a few great matches with HBK because so do a lot of people, to be fair. He had a fantastic one on SmackDown in 2010 ahead of the Heartbreak Kid's retirement, but this is their best, due in no small part to the tragic circumstances that brought it all together. The first time Mysterio faced Michaels one-on-one was on November 14th, 2005. The first Raw after Eddie Guerrero died. Theirs is the official tribute match, and it's typically fantastic. WWE booked Mysterio and Michaels as true equals, and the two gel as well as you might expect. Not only is it an intense back and forth contest, but Mysterio also pins Michaels clean as a sheet. No distractions, roll-ups, nothing. 1, 2, 3. As the two men embrace in the middle of the ring after their first ever singles match together, not a dry eye in the house. Number 4, Mysterio Jr. versus Juventud Guerrera, ECW Big Ass Extreme Bash. This match has Rey Mysterio flipping someone off in it. ECW, you are the land of the extreme. Also, the land of the quick. Jesus, springboarding Christ. It's one of Rey's last matches in ECW before he makes the jump to WCW, fighting the Juice himself at ECW's Big Ass Extreme Bash. God, the 90s were wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, this 2 out of 3 Falls match is ludicrous. I make fun of ECW sometimes, but those fans knew how to watch a Lucha Libre match, not only cheering the high spots, of which there were many, the moonsault into the crowd, Jesus, the plancha into the crowd, Jesus, but also offering polite applause for the seamless technical transitions. It's always nice to be appreciated. The action even spills outside into the parking lot at some point. The whole thing is a lot. It became an infamously tape-traded match, the kind of thing that made a name for both Mysterio and ECW as a whole. Number 3, Mysterio versus Chris Jericho, The Bash 2009. This match rules. A match for Chris Jericho's Intercontinental title, with Mysterio putting his mask on the line for a little extra spice. Mysterio does a great line in Spotfest, but he also works super well as a plucky David against a conceited Goliath. See also everything he's ever done with Kurt Angle. This match is born off the back of Jericho being a bad man and ripping off Rey's mask from a previous match, and it benefits enormously from that story being told. Few men can keep a match narrative ticking over like Y2J, and he's a proper little bag throughout, constantly clawing at Rey's mask. However, when he finally manages to rip it off again, surprise, there's another one underneath, which leads to Mysterio pinning the bad man. A hugely satisfying ending to a match full of big moves, white knuckle kickouts, seamless counters, high stakes, and tons of audience investment. Number 2, Mysterio and Edge versus Angle and Benoit, No Mercy 2002. One of the best straight up tag matches that WWE have ever aired outside of NXT. Featuring 4 members of the vaunted SmackDown 6, the mid-card sextet that made SmackDown the vastly superior show in the first year of the brand split. It was also the finals of a tournament, so obviously that just adds 3 extra stars onto its rating from me, crowning the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It starts well, gets better, and ends best. Mysterio and Angle renewing their impeccable chemistry, Benoit being very good as usual, Edge holding his own, setting up a bunch of amazing tag offense. It's 20 plus minutes of tag team heaven. False Finish City, it genuinely escalates to NXT takeover levels of crowd engagement and near falls. 4 astonishingly good wrestlers doing astonishingly good wrestling for 20 minutes. That's just a winning formula. And number 1, Mysterio Jr. versus Eddie Guerrero, Halloween Havoc 97, had to be. And not just because Eddie's ascended to wrestling godhood since his passing, lionizing his entire back catalogue, but simply because this is a brilliant wrestling match. To call it WCW's greatest cruiserweight match is saying something, and yet it is an almost accidental masterpiece. 2 people just doing everything right for one night of their lives. They have insanely good chemistry, attempt insanely ambitious stuff, and they nail it all to the point where it approaches literal magic. That springboard moonsault into a DDT, it's perfect. It is perfect. Throw in some Jericho-like touches of Eddie being a horrible bastard and raising the match's temperature by clawing at Rey's mask. It just rules. It rules so hard. Eddie ruled so hard, and Rey continues to rule so hard. Well done, Rey Mysterio. And that's our list. What's your favorite Rey Mysterio match? Let us know in the comments. And if you would like to pick up your copy of 2K22 again, we'd super help out the channel if you used our track link in the description and the pinned comment. Make sure you subscribe to Parts of Unknown, and never forget to jam that jam.